Hello and good evening, guys. My name is Luke Seymour. I'm currently trying to do a little bit with YouTube in terms of hosting Dungeons and Dragons sessions and then posting those sessions up online. But I'm going to be stopped in my tracks because of Article 13. So I'm doing my part to try and promote the Save Your Internet campaign. I'm not that great at speaking, but I do it often enough that I at least should give it a go. Now, well, I'm going to try and go through this as well as it has been explained to me, but definitely look around to get answers that I can't give as well as others have. But what is Article 13? Article 13 is what the EU Parliament is looking to do to crank down on copyright infringements that YouTube does get involved in. The laws isn't so much to change what's copywritten and what's not. It's the case that YouTube cannot be protected anymore to house those copyrighted materials and then to have them taken down by themselves anymore. The EU Parliament wants them to essentially block them because YouTube cannot take responsibility for every copyright infringement that comes on there. But this isn't limited to YouTube. This goes all the way to Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Patreon, everything. If there's anything that involves any reference, sound, or otherwise mentioned detail to a right-holded piece of work, then that can be issued up for copyright. Um, so what's the status of Article 13? As far as I've understood it, Article 13 has gone through and it's in the process, but what is currently still up for debate is the wording and the language that Article 13 is using. There's some talk that I noticed around the place called good faith when it comes to what YouTube should take down. So is it good faith that a copyright infringement comes from somebody who is doing a baking show and makes a Mario themed cake in good faith? Should YouTube take that down because it has a reference to Mario and therefore interferes with Nintendo's rights? Stuff like that. Um, but there is still at least 2 years where, and the end of this year, where you, Parliament and the EU are currently trying to negotiate what that language is going to be like, and then 2 years where the EU member states are going to agree or disagree on whether this is the right thing to do. But already, this is not like a freedom of speech. It was noted that we don't have like open rules and what we post up. We have permitted use. So the EU always had this in the backworks, like something that is permitted, but not quite in our power to really use. We're given this power. It's not ours by right. And this is going to lead to something very communistic, essentially. I mean, if you have a genuine opinion, that isn't a copyright claim, but if you have a genuine opinion about something like, I don't know, Barclays, for example, or some other European bank that works around globally, perhaps, because you mentioned their name, the Content ID recognizers will spot you. They can't risk that what you're mentioning does or does not pull into account something that's like privatized and has a copyright ID to it, so it will have to flag you, and YouTube can't spend the responsibility of that dispute, and so you'll be blanketed, you'll be blanket banned, and your content will be lost. What changes come with Article 13? So what I've understood is that there will be a bubble around the EU and EU member states. Uh, First of all, stuff that has copyright issues or disputes and anything that falls under this new law will be removed. Old content will be removed first and foremost, and then anything that abhors this like new law will be blocked as well. So it's not like, people will just give up. They will also have to give up with these kind of laws involved, and they won't be able to go back to some of the years worth of playlists and video collections that they have amassed because those will all be taken down. American YouTubers like Game Grumps, who I personally really love, won't be able to share their content in here because the American laws will be different from the EU laws. Their copyrighted material stuff, Let's Plays, will not be allowed into the EU, and they will be also blocked. There will just be a seal bubble around the EU to which we cannot view in and view out. And again, this goes all the way from Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, Patreon, WordPress, and other medias. They all get affected by the same ban. And there's also another issue because there's so many that's doing great work. Jacksepticeye, who I also love, is a great YouTuber who promotes great positive mental health and other issues like that. But his conversations and topics usually happen around gameplay, let's plays that happen, and those may get taken down as well. All of that time that is spent with people who do look to him for emotional support and just a way to get through the day, that's all going to be taken down in a country that's already quite depressed in a lot of areas. This just makes it even worse. So, what would be the impact if the European Union version of Article 13 passes? It would be, as I said, it would hit everybody, whether you're watching or whether you're uploading. And for those that actually get to make a living off of YouTube, or even, get noticed because of YouTube, you're going to be affected that way. Jobs that do come from YouTube, perhaps by video editors, they're going to be lost, and they're going to also be hurt because of this. And I don't even know if, like, an indie developer, I'm a video game developer myself, if I wanted to post up a little trailer of a game that I was making, would it be banned because I was using the software of Unreal Engine 4? The answer is yes, because I don't own the rights to Unreal Engine 4. And that's why that would be taken down as well. What does this mean for me as a YouTube creator or artist in the European Union? This is difficult. You have to be able to prove you own everything, right down to every piece of music, every image that you sourced, and every bit of content that you shared. All Let's Plays have to be gone. You don't own the game. Every bit of tutorials, and like if you're showing an instruction video on how to open up an IKEA chair, it's gone because you don't own the rights to that IKEA product. You don't own the rights to that game, and music remixes that come from original artists are also taken down because you don't own the rights to that official music. What does this mean for me as a YouTube creator or an artist not in the European Union? As discussed, these will not be able to enter the European Union. I'm unclear whether they will be able to see our work for what little manages to get by, but it's clear that what they make will have to be filtered and sieved through this very blanketed law that comes across everybody. What type of copyright content would I not be able to use in my videos? And as described, it even goes as far as excerpts from books. You don't earn that book, so even a quote might yet be part of the Article 13 ban. Parodies also would now be banned because, again, you're referencing serious bits of items and copyrighted material. And this is why it's such a dangerous thing to blanket ban everything that has some hint of a copyright infringement in there. The Save Your Internet campaign that has been posted by YouTube did give a few recommendations on how this could be made better. So to begin with, right holders don't just leave it to YouTube and European lawmakers to force YouTube to make a blanket ban. Instead, it could be down to the right holders to issue out a series of laws situational to their product. So essentially, all game companies can say straight out, we accept Let's Players, we don't accept Let's Players. That's fine. That's straightforward. Something that could be going from there. And then after that, we can say any other parodies or whatnot is allowable. And that's fine. At least then it comes down to allowing some things through. But also, we don't have a vagueness on what is allowed and what isn't allowed. We can take it case by case. Right holders can add to their series of lists for which an algorithm and content identifier could filter these out through. So that's how that could work. But even then, while it would still restrict some creative freedoms, but for the sake of maintaining copyright protections on works that people, I don't believe, claim as their own, but there are so many people that in the past have abused this. They've uploaded rips of Lord of the Rings movies, for examples, and other such works that unfortunately did lead to this kind of response. So it is a cause and effect situation, but even then, there's so much good that does come out of this media and so many others that there can be a better way and there should be a better way, because it is freedom of speech, it's freedom of creativity, and a way to get so many people off the ground in their own time frame, in their own way. Um, so what can you guys do to like try to contest and otherwise negotiate like the damage that Article 13 will do? Um, I have in front of me, and for what you're seeing here, links that I have done and will continue to do so, but it also goes with the following. Make a video to spread awareness with the hashtag Save Your Internet. Um, Go out and use Twitter and other such media to share the campaign around. But also on top of that, in a very reasonable and like-minded sort of manner, formally and just politely share out your thoughts to an MEP and MP if you're in the UK about reasons why this would affect you. My personal reasons go as follows. I'm a game developer, and for the time being, there's 9 hours a week that I host a game session that reaches out to about 18 people who I host for that month. And when I go to job applications, I want to say that this is what I have been doing in my own time. I make money for it, and I host to what I believe is a professional enough degree that people feel I'm worth the time. I want to be able to say to a company that people find me entertaining, and this is what makes me somebody who can be proactive and fun, and I want to be able to use that to show this is what I do. I also do want to be involved in the Dungeons and Dragons community. I want to be up there with Matt Mercer, Chris Perkins, and many of the other DMs that host campaigns like Dark and Dicey, Girls Gluts and Gory, and so on and so forth. But with internet and every other media that follows it being blanket banned in this way, myself and so many other people will just be put down. It will just restrict our ability, which the internet was made for, to share our voice, to share our creative freedom, and to reach out to one another in the ways that we choose and in the ways that we want to. So that is why I'm trying to do this, to appeal out to you guys, and to appeal to anybody you can share this for. There are so many people that have done this video better than me, but I hope that this shares awareness as it is intended to do. So please go out there, share the video, make your own, share the campaign, and do what you can to minimize the damage that Article 13 will do when it blanket bans everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Please share and please do your part to keep the content that you love and to keep making the content that you love. Thank you very much.